Guys, Fernandes, Lembo on the grid.
Yeah.
John, and then there was one.
Yeah.
I think if we were to talk before the season and we had to pick one team that would be here in the state semis, it would be Venice. Familiar opponent. I think we've had a lot of stories in the paper on it.
Yeah.
Next couple of days, even more.
Yes.
Last year, Venice lost by close to 40 points.
By the way, the opponent's Aquinas, in
Aquinas.
case those you don't know.
In case you didn't know, in case you haven't been reading the Herald-Tribune.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Blowout loss last year. We've done stories. I talked to John Peacock yesterday.
As did
you
I.
have
Yes.
talked to him.
Yes.
Break down the game a little bit. I did a story earlier this week where offensively they're not the same team. They scored 200 fewer points. When you think about a team scoring 200 fewer points in a season,
right?
You know they're an offensive powerhouse. Only allowed 90 points through 12 games. It's going to be a tough matchup for Venice in this game.
It is. I mean, you're facing a team that. I mean, I think I was. On the way over here, I was doing the math in my head. I think this might be the 6th time since I've been down here that I've covered a game, an Aquinas game.
Right.
That's almost like half a season. I was seeing St. Thomas Aquinas. I mean, yeah, they reload every year. They get D1 guys every year. They've won 3 straight state championships.
Have won their 10th last year.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, every year they're going to be. They're going to be stacked. I mean, let's face it. So, but as you said, the offense maybe not as prolific as it was last couple of seasons, but the defense has been really good. I mean, you scored 200 fewer points, and you're still in the state semifinals. You're doing something right defensively. So yeah, it's going to be let's see what Carpenter and Hiley and those guys can do against Aquinas' team. I mean, no one's stopped them yet. They put up some points, so it should be a great atmosphere. The game's at Venice. Last time Aquinas came down this way, they lost to Manatee in 2009. We all remember that game.
I think we were both at that game, but you were for the competing paper, I believe.
I was indeed. Yes, I was. And so hopefully, not hopefully, but maybe Venice is going to try and make sure Aquinas' next trip down here wasn't too much fun. Actually, you know what? Braden River, they were down Braden River then. Braden River beat them.
They
lost to Braden River.
I go back here, this paper a little bit longer.
Right.
I've seen Aquinas both win and lose close to 5 different teams from this 3-county area.
Right.
First time I saw him was the famous 04 regional final. That Riverview beat Sarasota 12,000.
Yeah.
They went on. John Sprague's, one of his better teams, they got beat down in Lauderdale. That was the first time I saw Aquinas. But I've seen them through the years. You're right, they're not as big offensively. Venice is going to have to do what they do best, which is obviously Carpenter throwing to Javon Hiley and Bryce Carpenter running up the middle quite a bit.
Right, and maybe Brandon Gregory, the running back.
The guy you did
actually, Matt did a story on that. Brandon Gregory, he could be an option too. Then they got Fryer, the tight end. So they have more options against Carpenter and Hiley. Obviously, that's the bread and butter. But they can hit you from other spots. I think defensively, they're going to have to keep them in. I think if Venice keeps the game close, they have a really good shot because. Last year, like you said, it was a blowout down there. If they can just stay close, and I think initially when you're playing Aquinas, the intimidation has to wear off. That you're playing Aquinas, you're playing this team that no one can beat. This larger than life high school team. If you look up at halftime and hey, it's a 1-touchdown game either way. Hey guys, it's we're in this now, and I think that kind of shifts everything. So I think that's what they have to do. Just the initial awe has to wear off, and the intimidation has to wear off. Just go out there and play your best football.
I talked to Peacock. I asked him about last year because we've all been to that stadium down there, and it's a little funky. I mean, it's on a very tight campus. It's really tight.
It's not what you'd expect from a program.
No.
You would expect this palatial.
No, it's right up the street from a pawn shop. It's in that type of neighborhood in Lauderdale. So you go there, and the stands are right there. The traditions, Brian Piccolo Stadium.
Yeah.
Even Peacock said that whole day, driving down there, it was a weird day.
Yeah.
So he hopes that it's not so weird here. Home cooking, home routine. It's going to work for him.
You're going to get a lot of fans. I think it's the only game in town.
Right.
So maybe if you're a Riverview fan or a Sarasota fan, who knows? And I think it's going to be jam-packed. I'm sure Aquinas is going to travel. I remember the year Manatee beat them, and there's like 2 or 3 fan buses down here. So I'm sure they're going to have plenty of fans. I mean, Michael Irving was in the sideline last time Braden River played them down at Braden River. His son was on the team back then.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
And he was on something because this guy would not shut up, and he would not stop moving. He would not stop posing for photographs.
Well, did Michael Irving was he ever a milk toast wallflower kind of guy?
No, like I said, he must have been on something that night. But it's quite an atmosphere when this whole team travels to another venue.
It's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a great crowd, and I think it's going to be a good night of football. I mean, it's hard to pick against Aquinas given all they've accomplished and given what they have on the roster, but I think if a team's going to bring them down, I think this is the year Venice can do it because they have so many seniors. They played down there. They played IMG this year. They've been wanting this game for so long. They got it, and I mean, nothing to lose for Venice. Just go out there and play your butt off and see where you stand when it's over.
I mean, obviously last year, you know that you got hammered. I think you learn something out of a loss. I mean, people say, what do you learn out of a loss like that?
Right.
Well, hopefully this year's team is a little better. You mentioned the seniors. There's 18 or 19 seniors in this team. Yeah. I think John Peacock is telling them, hey, guys, this is our shot.
Right.
You know, you seniors want to leave here with a good taste in your mouth. That would mean beating this team that took you out last year.
Definitely. And, you know, I mean, look at it. We're still talking about the 09 Manatee team. That was 8 years ago. That team didn't win a state title. I mean, Manatee's had 5 state championship teams. That wasn't one of them. Yet that team was brought up a lot because of what they did against Aquinas. So, yeah, if they win tomorrow night, this team is going to be remembered forever. I think it will be anyway. I mean, back-to-back regional championships. This is a great class they've had. But, yeah, you go out and win tomorrow night, you know, you're legends.
You are legends, not only by advancing this far, but by defeating everybody's sort of ogre out there in that St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah, I mean,
you're playing for the entire state. Yeah, I mean, you're basically for everybody that St. Thomas Aquinas has drilled.
And it's funny too, because usually Venice really the whole year has been the favorite. I mean, even the Braden River games, maybe they were a touchdown favorite. They weren't overwhelming, but they've been the favorite every year, and every game now here they're kind of like the underdog. It's kind of like, you know, they're Rocky now, and they're facing Apollo in the state semifinals.
Creed,
yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. I think like I said, if you want to see good football, it's gonna be a great game. I think 2 really good football teams, a lot of Division I talent. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun.
You know, I'll be doing a story in the next couple of days. I got to talk to the athletic director on there, Pete Dombrowski. You know, if you're Venice, you expect to make the playoffs, but these 3 games at home, what windfalls in terms of money,
four games.
4 games.
Yeah.
The windfall. We all know that football teams pay for the other programs at school.
Yeah.
But this is quite a windfall for this team in terms of money, because it's 6,000 fans there mostly every game.
It is. It's huge, and I think Coach Canan told me back in 09 that Manatee made like $20,000 from that game, and that's after they paid Aquinas their share and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, this is going to be a huge boost financially. You get 4 playoff games, and that's why they're loving the new system, because maybe this didn't happen under the old system with the top of the back or bottom of the bay. They earned the top seed. They earned all those points. They've earned all these home games, and they're going to earn a lot of money for the athletic program.
Yeah. You were down there for practice. I wrote a story today, a column today about
how I have one running today for tomorrow.
Right. They don't practice very long. They were on the field for an hour and 15 minutes. Yeah. You saw their practice. Pretty crisp. Pretty attention to detail, but they don't linger. I mean, they're on there and then they're off there.
Well, it's one of those, it's the old cliche of there's working hard and there's working smart. And just being out there for 4 hours a day doesn't mean you're getting anything done. If you're out there for 4 hours and you spend 2 of those hours standing around squirting water at each other, what are you accomplishing? But if you're out there quick, and look, they were on that up-tempo offense, so the good way to prepare for that is have an up-tempo practice.
Oh, you read my column. Great.
No, I've seen them play.
Yeah, okay. You read my column.
But, yeah, I did. but that's the thing. I mean, they're up tempo in the game, up tempo in the offense and practice. And my story is going to be on the fact that in the past, Coach Peacock even said he's had teams overlook teams before. He brought up the 08 team lost to Charlotte, the 09 team that lost to St. Pete, and I talked to him because his whole thing this year has been blinders on, tunnel vision. And don't worry about Aquinas or Braden River until we get there. And he said he's learned a lot from the past few teams, and this team has been really good at it 1 week at a time. You know, he said, hey, if we were to overlook Tenton Bay Tech or Braden River or St. Pete, we wouldn't be here right now because we're, as good as we are, we can't overlook those teams and win. So they kind of earn their way in here by the 1 week at a time, blinders on, and that's my story today for tomorrow.
You know, we really are, I mean, four straight days, Peacock's name's in the paper. I mean, we are really blowing up this guy's head, aren't we? I mean, you know, sorry, John, but
well, I mean, they're the only.
You're like my older brother younger brother. I've seen you so often lately.
Only team left standing, you know, state semifinal. Venice is a great fan base, and
great.
Look, if any other team was in here, we'd be doing the same thing. I mean, if it was Riverview or Palmetto or Braden River, we'd be doing the same thing. We were a lot of Braden River stories a couple years ago when they were in the state semifinals. So you get this far, you earn your coverage.
And let's give a shout out to Josh Smithers. I texted him a couple of days ago. Great job. Riverview lost last week. Yeah. But they've set in motion a program that looks like it just may go up from here. Got a nice base established here, Josh.
Great year, and they also had a couple of home games in the playoffs as well, which drew some fans. So outstanding year for the Rams. And the shame of it was 8A is kind of open this year with a couple of upsets. So if they would have gotten past Phillips, who knows? That they could have went all the way to Orlando or World Campus Fishing Citrus Stadium.
What
whatever.
is it? I don't know. It's a long name.
Pick a corporation and just put it on there. And great year for them. Great bunch of kids. I went and practiced there a couple times. They're going to lose some key seniors, but there's some key guys back. So I think it's the beginning of something really special. Last year was too for Review.
I mean, besides the game, what else is going on here before we shove off here?
We're in full swing winter sports. I had a story Tuesday of Manatee wrestling coach Andy Guglielmini. Shooting for 500 wins. He has 488.
It's a nice stylish little hat he was wearing.
Yeah, it's funny when they when they go to when the state tournament. They always wear some pretty colorful. One time, he and his assistant went to the state finals as Batman and Robin, and his reasoning, he said, a lot of my guys are here for the first time. They're nervous. I want to ease some of the tension. So,
well, he's definitely not a Catwoman with that body. I'll tell you that. He definitely.
He said that. No,
hey, what do we do? Well, you mentioned Batman and Robin. I'm just riffing off that. You know,
right.
It's called
Yes.
sort of, riffing. Anything else? Well, listen, I hope next week we can preview.
Right.
Okay, let's talk about this. If Venice wins,
Yes.
they play the winner of Plant
and Bartram Trail.
Right, Bottom Trail.
Yeah, up in St. John's, Panhandle, Jacksonville area.
Right, and the championship game will be at
Camping World Stadium, the Citrus Bowl in Orlando.
let's just call it the Citrus Bowl.
Okay,
Yeah.
the Citrus Bowl in Orlando.
Right, where it's been the last few years.
Yes, yes, and I think it's next week, next Friday, I think maybe at 8 o'clock at night, I believe.
Oh, Jesus.
Because I think if Riverview would have won, it would have been 3 o'clock
Right.
Riverview, then 8 o'clock Venice.
Right.
So yeah, it's going to be a fun night for Deadline if Venice wins. We'll see about that.
And I hope you guys win for 1 week. I mean, we're Venice fans and we're rooting for Venice, so go Venice.
I don't root for anybody, but
Right.
okay, you can root for Venice.
Okay. So is that it? We'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be here next week.
Maybe previewing a state championship game.
Hopefully, do.
Yeah.
For Lembo, Fernandes. See you next week on the Grid.